Good morning. I really don't know what to say. What are we all doing here? What are we all doing here together in this room? It's just so obvious that we are who we are, and we've never been anything other than that. And if you're here for the first time, I always say over and over again that really there's nothing that needs to be done. Even if you're here for the first time and you don't understand anything that's being said, if you feel drawn in any way to what you feel here, what you sense here, just keep coming back and it will dawn more and more on you without doing anything. Just sitting around with a bunch of friends and becoming more and more aware of what reality is. So, who we are has never been complicated, and it's never required any doing on our part. We are who we are, and that's absolutely overt. And overt means if it's totally clear, it can't be missed, it's never been hidden, it's never been obscured in any way. That it is so obvious we are who we are that it absolutely cannot be missed. Because anything that we're aware of, we are aware of it because all we are is aware basic space. So that aware basic space that is a vast expanse, infinitely a vast expanse, includes and contains everything. And that's our true nature. So anything we think about, any emotional state we have, any sensation we have, any ideas we have about being a someone like a body or an ego or a mind or a dog or a cat or Google Earth or whatever we take ourselves to be, it's all included and contained within this vast expanse of infinite space. So, we don't really have to do anything to get that. In fact, the more we do to try to get that, the less likely it is that we'll actually realize who we are. So, if we say, we're a human being and we want to know what it's really like to be a human being. If we really want to know what it's like to be a human being, then we look around for someone who's human and who is really good at that. They have a peaceful life, they know what's going on, they have wisdom and a natural compassion and just kind of flow through life. We wouldn't go to a robot and say, well, what's it like to be a human being? Nothing, we don't need to do anything outside the scope of the purview of our very own awareness. So, if the robot said to us, well, you can find out what it means to be human. You can really see what it's like to be a human by meditating for 30 years. Or you can find out what it's like to be a human being by going to India. Well, all of these things are sidetracks. They're all detours. They all take us away from who we are because we're here. We're naturally present. We're aware of being naturally present. So whatever is foremost in any experience is that awareness. The awareness as that experience. So it's not awareness of an experience like a subject being aware of an object. It's awareness as that experience. Just like the color blue is inseparable from the sky, or the brilliance of a diamond is inseparable from the diamond. No matter what occurs within aware basic space is the luster of that space and nothing else. It's entirely inseparable from it. So, it's just like if we look at the sun, we wouldn't say that the sun's rays are something separate from the sun. So such is the case with everything that occurs within aware basic space. Everything that occurs within aware basic space is like pure space, like the orb of the sun. All the rays of the orbs of the sun are the sun itself. It's the warmth of the sun itself, the luster of the sun itself. And such is the case with our very own awareness. And, maybe we haven't ever heard about this before, or maybe we've heard about it in a totally complicated way that involves a lot of doing on our part in order to realize who we are. But the reality is that who we are is very overt. We don't need any robots to tell us what it's like to be aware. We don't need to contrive anything in order to know what it is to be aware. Last night I was on Google Earth. How many people know what that is? Google Earth? It's a piece of software that you can download from Google, and through the software you have the perspective of a satellite in space. So your perspective, say like last night I typed in Ipanema, Brazil, and so then you see nothing, just the vast expanse of infinite space, and then all of a sudden your perspective hones in on Ipanema, Brazil, getting closer and closer until you see the Copacabana and the beach and all the apartment buildings along the Copacabana, the cars going up and down the street. And so, this is all that's going on with us all the time. So we have all these metaphors of who we are. And then I tried to imagine what it would be like to be someone looking at Google Earth, a subject looking at an object of a satellite that was then looking at another object called Ipanema. And I couldn't even imagine it. It seemed like such a strain, such an effort. So you see, we've never been confined by anything. We've never been confined by anything, just like Google Earth or Google Cosmos or whatever it is. Our perspective is the vast expanse of basic space, and that basic space is wholly positive, and it's never been anything else. So, just because we've heard a lot of other things about who we are, it doesn't mean we are that. We wouldn't be sitting here if we were convinced that we were all these things, all these mental concepts that we've heard about from other people, like, I am a personal identity and I have a whole bunch of imagined characteristics associated with a personal identity, like emotional states or a lot of different thoughts. And all these emotional states and thoughts, they define who I am. They give me an identity. Well, how absurd is that? That's just totally absurd, because any kind of thing that we take ourselves to be, first of all, it's impossible to hold on to it. Say we have the point of view of being depressed, and at the end of the day we say, I was depressed all day. Well, if we just rest naturally, just as the basic space of our own awareness, and really look at how often we had that point of view, I am depressed during the day, we'll see that very seldom did that point of view occur. Maybe it occurred 20 or 30 times at the very most. Any more than that and we'd go totally insane. But then at the end of the day, we put together an assumption, which is also just another point of view about how we were depressed all day. So all of these things of imagining a personal identity and then imagining all kinds of fearful consequences associated with the characteristics of that personal identity, they're just all made up. Our awareness our self-knowing awareness is completely free in every moment, completely free to do whatever it will. If it wants to take itself to be depressed, anxious, afraid, filled with panic, needing a drink, needing a joint, needing whatever it is, that's fine. The whole life can be spent like that. So the most important choice we make in every moment is this choice to rest naturally as the ground of all being, which is the vast expanse of the basic space of our own awareness, or to get involved in all the points of view of awareness. But you see, all these points of view, no matter what we take them to be, they're completely equal to vast basic space. So they're not like some tiny little thing that's contracted or constricted. Each point of view, no matter what it is equal to infinite basic space. So when we just rest naturally, we realize more and more that all these points of view that seem so confining, that they're just basic space and nothing else. They don't have any kind of boundary. They don't have a center or a limit anywhere. Their basic space is entirely absent of characteristics, absent of speculation, entirely open and spacious, completely indescribable, obviously naturally present. So there are all these things we can say about it, but no one thing that we say is accurate. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's nothing we can say that can really arrive at a definitively conclusive description of who we are. All we can do is rest naturally as the ground of being without seeking anything. And as that, this obviousness of wholly positive basic space is just more and more so. What's already so is revealed as already so. And, we could live forever. We could live forever beyond any capacity to count how long we would live. We could live forever and we would never know everything there is to know as this basic space. This basic space, it isn't some kind of an impartial or neutral ground. This basic space that we are is wholly positive. So it isn't an extreme like freedom from mental concepts. All of that is still within the purview of point of view. It's just an aberration of point of view, another point of view to say, oh, I'm free of all mental concepts. When we're totally free as wholly positive basic space, not only is there complete freedom from all points of view, from all concepts, as all those points of view and concepts that are equal to basic space and nothing else, a single blissful expanse. Not only is there complete freedom as that, but there is also a naturally occurring ground of omniscience. Omniscience, that means all-knowingness. All is already known. Obviously, that basic space that includes and contains everything contains and includes all-knowing. So you see, this too is inseparable from basic space.